It was just another typical night. Nights are dark, silent, and peaceful. But that calm shattered when I woke up in the dead of night, a cold shiver running down my spine. The door was unlocked. Let me take you through the nightmare that followed. But first, hit that like button, leave a comment below to tell me where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe to Neurofear HQ for more terrifying stories. It was past 2 a.m. when I stirred awake, my body stiff, as if something had just snapped me out of a deep sleep. I opened my eyes, blinking against the heavy darkness of my room. The quiet was suffocating, but there was something different about this stillness. Something that felt off. I sat up, my heart starting to pound in my chest. A strange chill had settled over me, more intense than the usual cool air from the window. Then, as my mind tried to make sense of the unsettling feeling, my gaze shifted to the door. The door. It was slightly ajar. I knew for a fact that I had locked it before going to bed. I always lock it. It's something I've done for years, a habit I never break. But now, there it was, open. A rush of adrenaline surged through me. Was I dreaming? Maybe I had sleepwalked and forgotten. I shook my head, trying to clear the confusion, but it didn't make sense. I hadn't gotten out of bed. I hadn't even heard any sounds. No creaks of the door, no footsteps. I swung my legs over the edge of the bed, feeling the cold, hard wood floor against my feet. Each step toward the door felt like I was walking into an abyss, the silence around me growing thicker with every movement. When I reached the door, my hand hesitated. The air seemed to thicken. I could feel a presence on the other side, but the hallway beyond was empty. I could hear my heartbeat in my ears as I pushed the door open slowly. Nothing. The hallway stretched before me, lit only by the faint moonlight filtering in from the window. The door to my parents' room was still closed. The bathroom door was shut. Everything appeared normal, but the unease in my gut told me something was terribly wrong. As I glanced back toward my room, I saw something that froze me to the spot. The light from my bedside lamp was on. I distinctly remembered turning it off before going to bed. I rushed back to my room, my footsteps echoing in the quiet house. As I reached my bed, I stopped dead. There, sitting on my pillow, was a note. It wasn't there before. I hadn't heard anyone come in. My parents were sleeping soundly, and there was no way someone could have entered without me noticing. But the note was real. I could see the faint imprints of handwriting on the paper. I hesitated before picking it up, my hands trembling. It was a single line of text. I see you. I felt my blood run cold. Who could have written this? My heart raced, and every nerve in my body screamed for me to leave the house, but something kept me rooted to the spot. I started to turn around, a horrible feeling rising in my chest. The house felt wrong, too quiet. The air around me felt thick, like it was pressing down on me. I looked back toward the door. The hallway was empty, but the feeling of being watched only grew stronger. I grabbed my phone from the nightstand, desperate to call someone, but my fingers were shaking too badly. The screen was dark. No signal. I cursed under my breath, trying to focus, trying to remember what to do. I needed to get out. I needed to... Bang! The sound came from down the hall. It was a loud, deafening thud, like something heavy had been dropped. I froze, staring at the door. My breathing quickened as I waited for another sound, but nothing came. The air hung heavy, pregnant with the promise of something terrible. My eyes darted around the room, searching for a weapon, something, anything. I thought about grabbing a flashlight, but it felt so trivial in the face of the overwhelming terror that gripped me. Another noise, a soft, dragging sound from the hallway. I took a deep breath, trying to calm my nerves. It was probably just the wind or some animal outside. I told myself that, but the rationality didn't help. The fear, the instinct that told me something was in the house, was too strong. I needed answers. I needed to see. Slowly, I crept down the hallway, my body tense, my heart hammering against my chest. As I reached the stairs, I noticed something else. The front door was wide open. I hadn't heard anyone come in or leave. The wind had stopped, and the night had fallen completely silent. I stepped closer to the open door, trying to steady my breath. As I peered outside, there was nothing. Just darkness. Nothing but the faint outline of the trees swaying in the distance. But that didn't matter. What mattered was that the door had been opened without me hearing it. Who was out there? Suddenly I heard a whisper. It was barely audible, but it was enough to freeze me in my tracks. "I'm right behind you." I spun around, but there was nothing. Nothing but the emptiness of the house, the door, the note, the sound in the hallway. It all connected somehow, but I couldn't make sense of it. As I turned back toward the front door, I saw it. A figure in the window. A figure that shouldn't have been there. Someone standing in the dark, watching me. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. My entire body went rigid, my mind screaming to run, to escape, to leave the house, but I was paralyzed. And that's when I heard it. The door slowly creaked shut behind me. I never saw the figure again, but I couldn't stay in that house after that night. It wasn't just the door that was unlocked. It wasn't just the note. It was the feeling of being watched. It was the feeling that something or someone was waiting for me. So, where are you watching from? Have you ever had an experience like this? Comment below and tell me. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to Neurofear HQ for more terrifying stories like this one. Stay safe, but always be aware. The fear is closer than you think. Don't forget to hit that bell icon so you never miss a new upload.